You listen to the sounds of DJ Fourth Quarter in your ear right now. If you're in your car, if you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby.
Driving home and you're feeling kind of tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day. So you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? When you need something to just ride to on the go, or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Can you believe it, Mckenna? Hey, Mckenna.
Hey, Tonia. It's Wednesday. It is January the 26th, and I believe this is the last Tuesday of the month. We'll be rolling over to February before we know it. So this year is trotting right along. Good to be here tonight, and just wanted to say hello to all our listeners. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Man, 20, what? Today is what, the 20, what?
26, January the 26th of 2022. It's where we are today.
Okay, so if you have not realized, listeners, this year is going on fast. So,
yeah,
time waits on no one.
Time waits on no one. Gripe time. Anybody, do you have a gripe? Like, how's your week been? Anything to gripe about?
Man, yes, I have gripeness. I have a lot of gripes lately.
Okay.
But you know what is the gripes that I have is just that how are people in the same mindset as they was 3 years ago? Everything that's been going on lately is like, why am I going to complain? Thank you. I woke up this morning in my right mind. I got health. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Marcus.
Hey, MG.
Hey.
Y'all.
It's MG. Welcome back. Happy New Year, MG. We haven't seen you. Welcome back. Welcome back.
I know it's been a while since. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I seen it and talked to everybody. How's everybody doing?
We are doing just fine. We are just getting started, and we were just saying that it's the 26th day of the month. And we were saying that January has rolled through, like this is the end of January, and it will be February in a minute. So if you have some goals that you were supposed to pin down this month, go ahead and pin them down because the month is about over. And February, the groundhog will be talking to us in just a few moments. Is basically what we're looking at next.
It's been an exciting year so far, though.
Well, Marcus, you missed us last week. So, I mean, do you have anything that you want to say to our listeners? Do you want to do a shout out? Because we got to get into it. So, of course, I was talking about my little gripes as people being ungrateful and selfish that they even breathe. You know, when you wake up in the like when I wake up in the morning, I promise you guys, this is how I wake up in the morning. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I'm serious. I don't know if it's just me, but that's how I do. I'm just
that's how you're supposed to do it. I know what you mean. People that every day they wake up and something, whether whether it's valid or not, something always is, they angry at somebody or something, and I don't know, man. I just think that's a terrible way to wake up. I mean, especially, everybody has their days, but I just think it's a terrible way to kind of carry your life out, being angry at something. Real quick, I just want to say something real quick about that. I talked about my pops a lot. He always says the same thing. He said, one of the things that we know about two people, and it's just about people holding on to grudges and all those other things. And I hope this is for some people in the year 2022 to let a lot of stuff go. Because the person that's carrying the grudge, that weight is heavy. For the people that you're mad at, that can walk up to you the next day and say, hey, how you doing? Those people ain't carrying that grudge. Ain't no heaviness on them. Because they understand that whatever y'all beef is and whatever y'all had going on, their life revolves around something else. So, You know, I know I've been on here a while, but I know we days into it. But for 2022, let that weight off your shoulders. All that angriness, being angry at people. I don't care if you don't talk to them or not, but being angry at them is a different story. Let that go. Don't carry that into 2022. Even if you ain't started until now, let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
I think it's well said, MG. I mean, we do carry around a lot of baggage from yesterday and the past, and learning how to forgive is really a skill set. You know, you really have to practice letting people be human and being imperfect, because that's what people are. People are human. They're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to offend you. They're going to do things that don't make sense to you. They're not going to apologize. They're going to be forgetful. They're going to be, I mean, we are people. And sometimes when we hold people to such a standard and we don't forgive and let go, it really just drags us. It doesn't drag them because they're still being who they are. So one of my mentors in the past, she used to tell me, you have to learn how to love people from a distance. And I was like, learn to love from a distance. Like, what does that mean? Like, it is okay for me to love you way over there and let you be you way over there. And I can be way over here doing me and still having a good time, enjoying life, and allow you to be who you are. We're not saying that you should just let people run all over you, or we shouldn't hold people accountable. But what we are saying is that when you carry around that gripe and it's dragging you down, it's in the way. It's in the way from you waking up smiling in the morning, stretching, giving praises to whoever you believe in. It's in the way of you getting on your grind. It's on the way of you having a good moment or a good mood or an attitude. It's in the way of every time you see them, now you have to roll your eyes, or you have to feel upset, or you have to feel annoyed, or you have to feel anger because you're thinking about that thing from yesterday that you might not even remember in detail. You're just remembering like the residual feeling that you have, but the actual specific situation, sometimes that really gets foggy over time. So to your point, Marcus, yes, we have to, like it says, lay aside every weight. You know, just let that weight go. Be like, get on the scale and feel light because you let some of that weight go. Flush it down the toilet. Whatever you need to do with that weight, just let it go, and then continue to smile, rise, grind. Be about your business. Be about your purpose. Be about your calling. Be about making yourself the best version of yourself that you can be possibly. Be about encouraging and inspiring other people. Be about spreading a little sunshine and less negativity, and go ahead and thrive.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly. I don't know. I jumped in on your gripe, Tonia. So did you finish up with it?
No, she didn't start yet, so we still want to hear it.
Well, pretty much it is basically what we're saying. People are just so into this selfishness. They're still selfish. They're mad at everyone and everything. And I just, before we even go further, you know, I'm gonna back up all the gripes, y'all. I'm forget about my gripe. So I'm a boy mom. My only boy. Okay. So what happened to Regina King's son was so sad. The day after his birthday, everyone, I know you guys heard, if you're watching, listening, he took his life. Mental illness is real. But when people say mental illness is real, sometimes you think, okay, they might be going through something, they might have some imbalance, whatever. But let's be real. Like, a lot of times stuff be going on that some people cannot handle. I also believe that it has to do a lot with faith, why people commit suicide. That is my opinion. However, let's leave the religion out and let's think about it from this point. Hearing, you know, every time I go to social media, turn on the news, you hear it, and it's like, wow, 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 wow. Mom is successful. He probably is in no need of wants. He probably could get to go wherever the things that he want to do. But deep down inside, what was really going on? We don't know. We will never know. Okay. But then I had to think. When the last time you called your son and asked him how he doing? Like, no, seriously, how he doing? And I said, wow, me? If it was me, I don't know how I would even take it. And I picked up the phone And I called him. And he was like, "What's up, Mom?" I was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "You good?" He's like, "Yeah, Mom, I'm good." I said, "No, you good, good?" He said, "Yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm just taking some." I said, No. Seriously, are you good? Good. He said, "Yeah, Mom, I'm good. Just tired, just, taking some rest, coming from the gym." I said, "Okay." I said, "Of course, you heard what happened to Regina King's son. That was her only son, her son's son." I said, "You my son's son." I said, if you need someone to talk to, you know, counselors, therapists. I said, you can even talk to me. I said, but the most important thing that I want you to know, you can talk to me. Okay? And I said, because I don't know what I would do if that was you. So I said, please, if you can't even talk to me, can you talk to someone? Can you talk to someone? He's like, "Yeah, Mom, yeah, I know it's sad. I understand. I hear you." I said, "No, but are you really hearing me?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "All right. I love you. But don't forget what I said. If you need me, if you need to talk, I'm here. But if you don't want to talk to me, please talk to someone." I had to do that because even though I knew I raised him right, I knew, he's faith and he is a God-fearing man. But at the end of the day, just that one little thing.
Yep.
And I just had to ask him and I had to beg him, please, if you can't talk to me, because sometimes he be telling me I be rough. I do. But if he really comes to me about something seriously, or even say, "Mom, I'm just having some thoughts of this," and I'm gonna be real and transparent with him and try to be there. Excuse me. So please, and not only boys, but girls, young ladies, young men, please, parents, even though we believe they good, please just check in on them to really find out if they good. I mean, that's me. That's where I'm at. So all those other gripes could go. I just want to make sure mine is good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty heavy, man. That's our only son, and from all accounts, from everything that I've read and heard, that how close they were. He's the only child, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, I have brothers and sisters, but I was raised with my mom, and for like 11, 12 years, I was the only child, and so knowing how those years were compared to having 26 of those years, I just as a parent, I couldn't even imagine, and I'm glad she has a really good support system from my understanding of things that I've read and heard too as well. But yeah, man, it's a real tough blow, real tough blow.
Yeah, I mean, life is full of pain, and this is that unspeakable, unimaginable, difficult to relate to unless you've been there type of pain. And so, yes, it's great that she has a support system and she has family and friends and other peers in the celebrity community. There are other people that probably have reached out to her that have personally been affected by a suicide. Um, but it's still difficult to understand when somebody, and we've talked about suicide on the show before because it's happened, and we have to discuss it, but it doesn't make it easier to go through that. And it really is just going to be something that it never disappears. Time will help the person adjust to it, that absence. But that vacancy, that void, that loss is part of her permanent identity now. And it's sad because we all love her, You know, like she's one of those people, like we don't have anything bad to say about her. She's out there grinding, she's hustling. We talked about her making money and how she's, you know, being in so many different roles and how different characters she's played. And I think we even talked about her in the Western that she, I can't remember the name of the Western, but it came on Netflix with her and Idris. So I remember talking about her and just watching that last year and even reading about some of the upcoming projects that she's involved in and how she's really thriving. And then to be hit, like life just really hit her. And for some people, that's going to knock them out. Some people, it'll just knock them down. Being what we see, we imagine it might slow her down for a moment, but we know that she'll use this to be a champion and an advocate for something in her own way, in her own time. At least that's what we imagine that she will do. But to Tonia's point, we've talked about this before, check on your peoples, you know, it's okay, and check on yourself. You know, while we're busy checking on other people, do that mirror check. I was reading an article about Mary J. Blige. She popped up on my timeline, and I don't know if it was a recent interview or an older interview, but she was talking briefly about some of the experiences that she had in her marriage, and where she literally every day had to find a way to build herself back up because she had been broken and torn down and belittled so much, you know, in that relationship. And we think of Mary as, you know, she's a singer, she's an actress, you know, she's married, she's what's the 411, like this is Mary. And so to see her or to have her be so vulnerable, and she's been vulnerable in the past about, you know, sharing about her depression and some of the self-esteem issues she's had in the past, but to really hear her say, I had to stand in the mirror every day and say these positive things that I am somebody, I am beautiful, you know, I'm going to have a good day, just reminds us how human all of us are. And so we have to be mindful to take care of ourselves and then reach across and, as we say, check on your folks, because we really are in this world together. You know, like we came here not to be by ourselves. There's a whole world out here, and there's this concept of interconnectedness. Like we really have to connect with other people, because when we don't connect, that's when we are isolated and void, and that's when sometimes we fail to thrive. And so it's really important that we plug in, so to speak, and we connect to other people, and we check on ourselves and we check on others. So everybody out there, just make sure you are plugged in to yourself, to your higher power, to God, whatever it is, that thing that you use to help motivate you, and then check on your people. So.
You have to check on your people, no matter how financially stable they are, no matter how happily married, no matter how busy you think they are with the children. Just don't take it for granted when you can say hello. And sometimes, you know, I have my girlfriend, you know, she would text and say, I'm not having a good day. All right. You know, stop. That means stop what you're doing. My friends, when I text them and say, I'm not having a good day, or if I call them and they hear me on the other side, they just hold the phone in their ears and just wait till I could get myself together to talk or to say whatever I want to say. So I appreciate my circle. I say it all the time in the show. My circle is very small, but it's very tight. So, you know, you got to get you a circle. You have to get people in your life that you can talk to, even if it's just for them to listen to you. You know, I had a girlfriend, I talked to her last week, and I had to tell her. I said, I don't know how often I've said this to you, but let me tell you, I love you. I appreciate you. You're strong. You are there for everyone. And I want you to know that I'm here for you, you know, just to let her know that, you know, she is a good friend, and, you know, we appreciate her. So it doesn't take a lot to reach out and say thank you, or to say hello, or how you doing, in Wendy Williams voice.
Wendy Williams, how's she doing?
Well, the last report that I saw, she was recovering in Miami, you know, because she took some time off from the show. The show is still going. They're having temporary hosts here and there, but she's, you know, they were saying she was having some medical issues, but I think she's really taking that time that she needs, because she never really took that time that she needed. So sending, you know, good wishes and get well soon, Wendy. But her show, still having the ratings from, the different guest hosts that they've been having. But we have something interesting to talk about tonight. But before we go any further, Marcus Mckenna, I heard the Saints coach about to step down. I saw that. Can we talk about that for a quick second?
Yeah, we can talk about that, and can I get on this sports chain for a quick second too, if possible? I don't know what if you guys talked about any sports last week or not, but I know it's a subject that I want to touch on, sports related. But yeah, the Saints coach stepped down. He's been there for about 15 years, my understanding. So I know the Falcon fans are pretty happy and pretty excited about that, which is interesting. But yeah, he's stepping down. My guess is that he's going to step down for this year, maybe a year or two. He's going to go to another team. I don't know what team he's going to go to. People have linked him to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sure a lot of Cowboys fans would be excited about that if that happened. But yeah, he just stepped down. The team was in disarray, and I don't know if he was having health issues or what, or if he just got tired of it. But his team wasn't very good, and it didn't look like they were going to get any better next year either, because they were having quarterback issues. So when quarterback Drew Brees finally left, they were in a bad spot for the past years. So I know it's a tough blow for the Saints fans.
Yeah, I mean, I know that this time of year coaches change around in the NFL, so there's going to be a lot of movement that's happening with the different coaches. So it'll be interesting to see where everybody lands and what these new teams look like. So Marcus, did you watch these championship games this weekend?
I did not.
Okay.
I didn't watch any of them.
Okay.
Sports just hadn't been very prevalent right now, except for I heard there was really good games, but except for this AB situation.
Okay, so have you followed that? Have you watched some of the interviews?
Yes.
Okay. Anything you want to share about this unfolding AB situation? Because it was an incident and then it just continues to unfold, and he's done several interviews on YouTube and different places. So go ahead. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes. This I don't know how old he is, but I don't know, maybe it's like 28, 29, maybe 30, I don't know, something like that. But from all accounts from interviews, he seems to be knowledgeable of some things. However, I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm just not in the camp of I'm with AB. I'm just not. I've seen a couple of his interviews, and I've seen the one where he was on I Am Athlete. And it was a point where Brandon Marshall tried to talk to him about a few things. And, the younger guy on the show was like, yeah, I see. But it seems to be this outpouring of support from people who are anti-establishment people, which is understandable. But it's also a part of professionalism that most grown folk have to deal with on a daily basis. And we would all like to, throw out, if we're on a uniform, we like to take the uniform off and throw it at our boss or whatever else. We all like to do that every day. However, it's a point of being a little bit grown and how to handle certain situations. I can't excuse you just taking off your shoulder pads, throwing them everywhere, making a scene going out. If you didn't want to be there anymore, if you didn't like what he said, just walk off the field. I was fine. That would have been fine. But you out here throwing your hands up, trying to get the fans into it, your shirt all off and stuff, you throwing stuff into the stands, that's clown behavior. And for you to excuse that like it was legit, nah, you are all right to be upset. Nobody faults you there. If he told you not to be on his team no more, you are 100% correct on being upset. But because you have this raw emotion, I'm not going to pretend that that's the correct way to handle the situation because you're upset. Nobody questions your emotion about being upset. I'm just not going to excuse it. And it seems to me from looking at the interviews, he doesn't listen to people very well. He just pretty much has this, well, that's the way I act. You can't tell me nothing. I don't even want to talk. You can't tell me nothing about it. Okay. So why are we going on this world tour and you're talking to people about this one situation, this one incident? As a matter of fact, you are now to the point where you are getting seeking legal action towards this whole situation. But you don't want to talk about it because what you did was what you did.
So question, Marcus. So is it that he's messing himself up as far as another team picking him up?
I think it's a lot of all that stuff. If this was one isolated incident, then it would be like, all right, whatever. But he left the one team because he was having issues and or trouble with that team. And then another team gave him a whole lot of money. And he didn't even play it down for them because of his issues and stuff that he had was going on. Then he went to another team, got hit with a sexual harassment and or rape charge. Then they dropped him. And then I guess he found out the girl was doing whatever. And then he got with another team. They won the Super Bowl last year with him. Everybody thought he was doing great. This year come around, everybody is mandatory for the NFL, whether they like it or not. You ain't got to play for them, but it's mandatory for them to have a COVID or be in the know for everybody to know about the COVID situation. Well, this guy decides, you know what? I don't want the shot, but I still want to play football. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna forge and fake a vaccine card, and nobody knew about it until his chef, who he hadn't paid, snitched on him. So you got to keep people. So you can't have people around you and you ain't paying them their money now. So he snitched on him.
That's a rookie mistake right there. You're making rookie mistakes. Like,
right.
So let me ask you a question. How long he's been playing? Because he acting like he's been playing for 15 years.
So I think So Marcus, you make some good points. And I think that there are a lot of conversations that are happening at the same time about this AB incident. I watched some of that I Am Athlete interview, and I do respect the fact that he's holding his position. Left or right, he's holding his position that I did what I did, and I get that other people wouldn't have handled the situation the way that I did. So I've heard him own that piece. He did acknowledge that this is how he handled it. This is the reason that he handled it. And he understands that there are other people that would not have handled the situation that way. So that's one thing, because you do have to own your choices. So it does feel like he owned his choice. That's one thing. The second piece of the conversation that isn't necessarily being had or held is this, how people are being treated in the NFL and our athletes being constantly disrespected by owners and coaches and managers. And if this is happening, this constant disrespect, one of the things he said is that, where were the OGs that pulled me to the side to help me understand this process and help me understand how I'm supposed to deal with some of this pressure? So I only saw part of the interview, so I didn't watch all of it, but I did hear that.
Right. So let me touch on that really quick.
Okay.
Because that was the part that got me a little hot too. Because I don't know if you saw, Brandon Marshall was like, yeah, I was trying to be kind of that OG for you. And he was like, yeah, I talked to a lot of other players. But what it's about for him, I believe, is being receptive of advice from OGs and other people, which I think is which was really my point. And what frustrated me was that, you aren't listening to the older people that's giving you advice on how to handle these situations. You aren't listening to anybody. You've had, when you're in that environment, one of the people that helped you get on and do all the other stuff was Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is considered one of the greatest leaders in football. You know what I mean? And we know Tom get on the sideline and he might be mad at the coach, yell at the coach, and do all the other stuff. He does it on the field. You know what I mean? Other players like my boy Odell, he'll do the same thing. T.O. done the same. All of them have done the same thing. But one of the things that they have never done is walk off that field in that manner. Never done it. They never have any other, they don't have any outside trouble or anything like that. They never do that stuff. So one of the things that we look at is him. He is the common denominator of all these situations. You can say it's fine if you don't want to deal with the establishment rules or whatever else. That's fine. But don't excuse your behavior to believe that it's right. You may think it's right. But like I said, my opinion is, and what Brandon Marshall was trying to tell him, is a better way to handle it. Business-wise, is a better way.
Yeah. Now that's the piece that his maturity right now may not allow him to receive. He's in the, I did what I did, I get it. I did what I did. Somebody else may have done it better. I didn't do it better. So I don't know if he's in that place to accept that he himself could have done something different. Not that just other people might have handled it differently, that I myself could have handled it differently. Not MG would have handled it differently, or whatever the Brian's name is, or Mckenna would have done it differently, that I myself, as I reflect, could have handled it differently. He might not be in that place. He's just in that place that's I did what I did. And I accept the fact that I did what I did. So do you think, so what's next for him? Somebody said he had a song or something. Is he a musician now? Like, is he rapping? I didn't hear the song.
He's a rapper, man. He's in the life right now. I saw a clip of him hanging out with Madonna, Floyd Mayweather, and Kanye West. You know, he's in that thing. And as long as people are feeding the idea that he handled the situation good, I think I read a comment that he was so real because of the way he reacted to all this stuff. So as long as he's having that support, I don't see any time or any way of him being like, you know what, I could have handled that situation better.
Okay. So he's still in his 15 minutes of fame right now. Just a different 15. Yeah, he's still in his 15 minutes of fame. Okay.
Yeah, he's seeking legal action.
Against what?
I don't know. Maybe he was saying that they weren't supposed to kick him off the team or whatnot. I don't know.
Because he was saying that he was hurt and they knew that he was hurt, and he complained about his ankle before he played that day, and it started to act up when he was playing, and he was letting his coach know, and the coach didn't care, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I get all of that. At the end of the day, that's your job.
But even with that, Tonia, you know what was going on with that? It was correct that he probably complained about his ankle wasn't 100%. Everything, all the accounts that I heard from football players, more than likely, they're never 100%. You know what I mean? But that wasn't the case from what we understand about what the coaching was thinking and what he was thinking. So he went out there, but he wasn't receiving a lot of passes, and he had to meet certain standards to get bonuses and stuff like that. But he wasn't getting the passes that he wanted. So his thing was, what's the point of me being out there? So when he went to the sideline, he was like, well, my ankle can't go no more. So, which presents a problem for the coach. Is like,
not Team Petty.
Right.
Not Team Petty. Like, I feel my stomach hurt. I don't feel good, coach. Yeah.
Right. So that's the other element of it. And so, coach, being hot-headed coach he is, coach was like, oh, you just out there running routes. You was good. You know what I mean? Last game, when we threw you about 10 or 15 passes, you was good. You know what I mean? You was out there trying to ball. This game, you're not getting all the passes. Now you coming on the sideline like, oh, you know what, coach? My ankle ain't as good as it's supposed to be.
So speaking of this coach, is this the same coach that smashed one of the players on the head the other week on national TV and got fined? Okay. So I still feel like we're still missing a piece of the conversation about how these coaches are handling these players and the level of disrespect that occurs. And is there a vehicle for these players to get together and express this level of because the coach went back on TV and said that he didn't apologize or, feel that he did anything wrong. He assaulted a man on national television and had no remorse for it. So I'm still feeling like there's a part of a conversation that we still could have about how athletes are being treated by players and owners and GMs and things of that nature.
Mckenna, that's a huge conversation because from everything that I understand is that's the culture of football. That's the culture. And you'll have players alike that defend that culture of you ever go to like a little league football or junior high or high school football, and you'll see the way the coaches talk to these players and even physically get involved with these players. And the players themselves have adapted that culture as being he's just coaching them up. So that's definitely a big conversation about, especially when you get to grown man level, what's respect and disrespect. And I think, like I said, Brandon Marshall put it best. Brandon Marshall said, I'm not going to sit there and be like, everything's kumbaya and all that. He said, look, I'm going to lean over to the coach and I'm going to tell coach, when we get in this locker room, it's going to be me and you. And then what you want to go from there, because since you want to be disrespectful. But he said what he wasn't going to do was he wasn't going to go out there and do all the stuff that AB was doing. But Brandon Marshall's in a different space right now. He has a brand. He's a really successful businessman and trying to ascend to be more successful. So he's in a different space than Antonio Brown. So I just, if it wasn't for his history, then I would say, let's dive into it a little bit more. But after listening to interviews and knowing his history, I'm sure he didn't like the way the coach talked to him. I'm sure he probably said some old crazy stuff to him, like, get out of here, you off my team, blase. So he probably said all those things to him.
He did a Dennis Rodman.
Well, you know what? They need to mind the business that pay them, honey. Because see, at the end of the day, that money, it do run out, especially if you got a high taste in life. So, you got to be careful because he haven't been in the game that long to be doing all that extra stuff. But
he's going to be a rapper. He's going to be a rapper and an actor in a minute. So, there's a Netflix movie about to be made.
Okay. All right. Well, guess what? We'll keep us posted, Mckenna and Marcus, on him. But listen, we got to go real quick to the Cardi B and Tasha K. Did you hear? Cardi B won that case. She won that case, and she won the lawsuit, $3.8 million in defamation case against YouTuber Tasha K. I hope she got insurance. You think?
Maybe she'll go. What was that? A GoFundMe? Yeah, that's a real big thing right now. If she has 3 million fans or followers, she can have everybody just send her, $5 or $10 to help pay her GoFundMe.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I'm just making a joke. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Tasha K has some followers, so if she doesn't have any insurance, this is what we do. Just post up a GoFundMe page and help me pay off these legal fees. And then if Cardi B accepts the money, she should probably donate it somewhere. Use it for a good cause. And maybe put some money in a journalism school so that people who are actual real journalists can learn their craft and follow the ethical principles of journalism. So to me, if that was me, that's kind of something I would do. I'd be like, you know what? I've got this $3.8 million. I'd go to Howard or FAMU or one of these HBCUs and invest the money in their journalism department and make a big to-do about it and, express why I'm, putting this money, because there are people out there that, really want to be journalists and bloggers and, have an opportunity to build their craft. And there's a way to do that. They need some education and some training. So I'll probably be all out here marketing, this $3.8 million that I'm about to get from the settlement and use this for positive.
Yeah, I love it. I'm 100% with you, Mckenna. That will be, a little splash, a little extra splash in the face besides the money, talking about petty. But I love that pettiness right there because it benefits somebody. You know what I mean? It's not one of those things where it's just like, I'm just going to try to, mess over you, but it's going to benefit somebody, benefit quite a few people too, actually.
Petty has its place. There's a place in life for petty. You just have to do it in a way that it benefits somebody. It is a splash in the face, but there's a message, right? And if you're mature enough, you're going to heed to that message because you too can use your platform and say, you know what? I'm going to even support. And now we can collaborate because I'm not mad anymore because I'm mature, right? I'm this mature version of myself. So now I might even reach across the aisle and say, you know what? Do you know anybody that needs some assistance? Because I have the scholarship fund over here at this institution and feel free to have them apply because I only knocked you down because you were out of order. But go ahead and build back up and do it the right way. And I can support that. I just can't support the way you came at me because it was illegal. It was wrong. It was detrimental to my mental health. And it's now what's sending a message to other people is do your craft the right way. Mm-hmm. We all have a craft. We all have a talent. We all have a gift, but do it the right way. Don't be malicious. Don't try to tear people down. And we've talked about this before. Why are we this culture that's constantly ripping and tearing people down? And why does that make money? Mm-hmm. Why do we feed off of other people's misfortune the way that we do? And why does that sell so much? And so from this, great conversations could happen. From this, people can learn, from what not to do. And then from this, other people who thought that they just had to accept lies and misinformation can feel like, the justice system, sometimes it does what it's supposed to do. All right. We get Cardi has some money to pour into her lawyers. We get that. She has some resources, but it does yield opportunities for things to change. So shout out to Cardi and her victory. And hopefully, what's her name? Tasha K. Hopefully, Tasha K will take this in stride, learn from it, and go back to doing her job.
And with that being said, Cardi B, she has a whole millions of followers. So they can start even asking her endorsers, people who are endorsing her businesses, to stop endorsing her just because of that fact.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely might be bigger than the 3.8 million she's supposed to get. But I think this whole subject brings up to something a lot bigger, not only just from her crucifying her personally, her character or her life, her relationships, all the other stuff, but YouTube is a dangerous place. And you have to be careful where you get your information from. The reason why I say that is because my personal experience, I've had talking to someone who's a conspiracy theorist. And my goodness.
Excuse me, Marcus.
Go ahead.
Marcus, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you know when you said that you and that the Y and the T is a dangerous place? Do you know that it froze you?
Did it? Am I speaking too much?
They said, don't go there. Don't you dare.
All I'm going to say is...
Mckenna,
did you see that? Marcus started
like a commercial.
And then it started to twerk.
They're listening. Big Brother's listening.
I see. Let me not say the name. Let me just say YT like she did.
YT, right. YT.
But
with the red letters.
But definitely to everyone out there, be careful of where you get your information from. Because at times, I mean, I love going on YouTube, watching videos and all the other stuff. But you can go down that rabbit hole, as I'm sure a lot of her fans did, of like, oh, it's something bad about Cardi B. Let me go see what it is. And they hear this information with no kind of backing or nothing like that. Girl, you know what? You're right. She probably did. Why? Because her videos would suggest that she's, sexually active a lot.
Right.
So that makes sense that she would have this disease or that disease, or she would be like this and be like that. You can spew that misinformation out to viewers and listeners, and because in their mind, it's always psychological that they've already accepted that there's something going to be wrong with her anyway, and so they fall down that rabbit hole. Which brings me to my point about conspiracy theories. Like when you go and watching all this information on the certain channel, when you're doing that, you go down that rabbit hole of finding information that appeases your thought process. Because you don't want to hear all the other stuff about they're not right. And when you see them people taken off the air or content taken down, I'm not sure if Tasha in her content was taken down. Hopefully that was. But when you see that content taken down, it breathes more life into you can be like, oh, you know what? She was right. That's why they took it down. No, probably because they're spewing misinformation. Just the other side of it. Just think about it. But I just say, be careful on where you get your information from. Every source is not credible. Except,
that's great. We just saying.
Let's Gripe. We credible here. We might got other opinions.
Right. We're going to look it up.
The views held by us are our views. So they're credible because they're our views. I mean, they're held by us. So, I mean.
Right. Exactly. Right. But Mckenna, you want to read that little something that was sent out?
Okay.
Yes, let's talk about this real quick. We got to give our audience something to think
about.
Right.
So just a little marination. My husband just walked in, told the dog how cute he is, how much he loves him, held his face in his hands, stared into his eyes, gave him a kiss on the forehead, and then he walked out the room. Here I am sitting next to the dog.
What she done did? What she done did? What happened last night? That's what I want to know.
I mean, please tell me there's more to this story. I mean, this really couldn't just be it. Like it
My question is, what happened last night?
It couldn't just be it. Like, you don't see me sitting right here, and you gonna do all this to the dog, and then leave the room? Maybe he came back and laughed. Maybe it was a joke, and he came back and was like, "Hey, I love you too." Is that what happened next? Tonia, what happened after that? What happened next? This is the question. What happened after he walked out the room?
I think he's trying to say that the dog is more loving and affectionate and gives him more attention than she does. Because she's probably busy listening to Tasha T. I'm just saying. But y'all know if it was me, y'all want to know what I would have did.
What would you have done?
Sleep in the next room and put the dog in the bed with him tonight. Marcus.
Petty don't have it.
I mean, you don't want petticoat junction because, oh Lord.
Oh.
I wouldn't have reacted right away because, AB taught me not to react right away. So the other dude said I have to be more strategic. I forgot his name on the channel. The I Am Athlete, the other dude. He said I have to be more strategic. So I probably would have had to think about that so I can have my lean over moment later. Yeah, like it would have been a lot later, maybe even later that evening. When he went in for his play, the X's and O's play, then I might have had to lean over and be like, "Here go your dog. You want to pet that dog?"
Pet that dog.
Same thing. That's exactly what I said. I'd have just been like, oh, okay, all right.
But that's already the case, probably. That's the reason why he didn't say hey to him. See, what happened last night was that she ignored him when they was right next to each other.
She brushed that shoulder off. She did
she already on there. So her doing it again don't really count for much because she's already did it. That's the reason why he said hello and kissed the dog rather than her. Because the dog treated her better than she does.
The dog was excited to see him.
Yeah.
Probably looked back up in his eyes with that, that look of affection. He was wagging the tail, excited that he was holding his face. Probably lit up when he walked into the room.
Yeah, stood up. Came to greet him.
Came to greet him.
Mm-hmm. Tail wagging.
Mm-hmm. Tongue hanging out, salivating, and just excited. Just jittery. Just jittery, spinning around in a circle.
All of that. And if you ain't, what they always say, if you ain't got that type of energy, you might well just throw them away. If you ain't got that type of energy towards me, just throw them away. I kid.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there was a lot said in that little excerpt. We say,
and that was our little spin and take on it, how we would have handled it, or Marcus was telling us what had really happened.
Play that. And what's interesting is this is how we view things that happen in real life, just as a snapshot. We don't always look at the context of that snapshot and what happened in context. And we're doing it in jest and joke here on Let's Fight, but sometimes we have to ask that question, well, what happened before and then what happened after, before we really jump in and weigh in, because perspective and context helps understand that situation. So if that was the situation and they spoke to the dog and then they walked out of the room, don't run behind and give it a second. Wait one moment. Maybe he went back out to the car to bring you some flowers, or, maybe he had to run to the bathroom real quick and then came back and was like, okay, now come here, tell me about your day. I missed you, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes we have to just give it just a moment to see what's going to happen next. And then if what happens next doesn't meet the expectation, find a way to circle back and say, do you even realize that I was sitting right next to the dog and you gave that dog all that attention? I didn't get none. What was that all about? Then that person can say, yeah, I did it on purpose. I was being petty. Or they can say, you know what? I didn't even think about that way. I wasn't really intentionally trying to ignore you, but I remember the last time I reached for you and you kind of blew me off. So I was just like giving you your space because I thought that's what you needed. Like, it gives the person the opportunity to explain what happened. So I think that's a good one, Tonia. Thanks for that one. That was hilarious. That was hilarious.
I mean, but you know, it's just something to think about, and it gets your mind wrapped around it. Like, really, is there something really like that? What am I doing wrong, or what can I do better or differently? So I think that's why it was like one of those things that popped out at me. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this one a little bit. You know, it was also this past weekend. Um, I missed it. I totally forgot what I was going to say over the weekend. What happened? But it may come back to me. If it doesn't come back to me tonight, then I mean we'll address it next week. But do you guys have anything? We got 8 more minutes to see how time flies when you
So
have
just a quick happy birthday to Angel. Angel had a birthday on January 20th. So happy birthday to Angel. Just a quick happy birthday shout out.
happy birthday.
Happy B-Day. I guess I'm just going to do a widespread birthday shout out because for whatever reason, I know a lot of these people, it seems like. So I'm going to get a birthday shout out to all the Aquariuses out there because I know a lot of y'all. For whatever reason, I know a lot of y'all. So happy birthday to all y'all.
Happy birthday to all y'all.
Right.
Yes. So no one can say that we left them out. Is
right.
That right? No one can say we left them out for a January birthday shout out.
Right. Because I know about 3 or 4 today. So I'm like, and then probably tomorrow I know about another 2 or 3. So
we just gonna get it all in because you know next Wednesday is going to be what? February 2nd. Wow. Next Wednesday is February 2nd. Seriously though, this year is moving at a speed. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. By the time we look around, it's gonna be what? December again, right around the corner.
Yep.
So time waits on no one. Seriously, it doesn't wait on anyone.
So Tonia, because you mentioned that next week was February 2nd, it's our Black History Month. So we will have to remember to have our Black History trivia questions that we did last year, maybe some new ones, but we do want to make sure that we, celebrate Black History 365, but certainly have some Black History trivia next week. So there's a lot of interesting things in Black history that we don't get to discuss, in public schools, and we won't even get into this critical race theory that conversation today. But nonetheless, I think that it's a great place to start next week with some Black history tips. So we'll be interested to bring some to the table. And if our viewers have any that they want to share, please make sure you do so. You can send them to us on our Facebook page or send us an email. But we'd be really interested to hearing some things that we haven't heard. Not the popular things that are trending in our textbooks, but just other information about Black history that we just aren't familiar with or less discussed.
Exactly. I'm glad you bring that up because that was one of the things that I remember I read over the weekend. I had wanted to talk to Emmett. What's his name? The one that the
Emmett
Till, right? Okay. That lady that lied on that 14-year-old. Do you know she's still living?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I hope she is so unhappy. And I will hope that she lived till she 150.
To wallow in her unhappiness.
I mean, I am just so serious. I read that over the weekend. I was like, what? And his parents, they died in the early 2000s. But he died at 14 years old for a lie. Mm-hmm. But I'm just still trying to figure out why she was never tried. Like,
well,
we could. I guess that's something that I'll probably research over this weekend, so we can talk about for February Black History Month because it was disturbing. It was really disturbing for me to really read that and to know that she is still alive.
And just to that point, that story, of course, made news, and there's a movie being made about it. And I think there was another movie made about it in the past. But those are the stories that we know about. Those are the ones that we know about because they got media attention. But there are countless other examples of those similar types of situations where somebody lied on somebody or somebody assumed that something happened or she was being too friendly, so they took it out on him that have happened. And I remember last year around this time, people started posting, there was like this big thread on Facebook where people were talking about stories in their own family, their great uncle or their great grandfather, or, their great great grandfather who experienced these things, people's names that we don't know anything about who went through injustice because of the color of their skin. So you're right, it's a great time for us to segue into that and start talking about that and talking about it in a way for us to remember, because when we don't remember our history, we're bound to repeat it. And then for us to use that to remind us why it's so important for us to reach back or vote or apply for that position or educate ourselves or, inform other people or teach our young people about their history. They don't have to learn it in the classroom. There's plenty of places to learn history. The history teacher doesn't have to be the only source of information. There are videos. I mean, in February, I'm sure PBS will have plenty of PBS specials on all kinds of, historical things that happened during our movement. And so I think that it's important for us to just take February to remind ourselves of we're great for a reason because we had a real struggle. And there are lots of people who sacrificed for us to be able to even just have a show called Let's Gripe on a YT channel, on a Wednesday, because that's what we want to do. And so, we take these things for granted 364 days a year, but I think we just need to remember that there was a price that other people paid. There are other people paved the way, even in journalism. Maybe we can hide out a journalist, who, was out there solo and finally, even Oprah, we joked about Oprah. We didn't understand Oprah. She was a little odd to us, but she paved the way for lots of people behind her. We learned to appreciate Oprah for who she is. She's a little bit different. Some of us couldn't connect to her, but Oprah stood her ground and she endured criticism, ridicule, trying to be like the white lady. Like, we had our things about Oprah, but 30 years later, Oprah is still around and she's still open and creating opportunities for people to be actresses and journalists and producers behind the scenes and camera operators and, all types of things. And so I'll get off my box. But yeah, we'll talk about more next week.
Don't forget to like and share. Don't forget to invite your friends and family to check us out on the YT Let's Gripe at the powerhouseradio.com. Like and share. Okay, join us every Wednesday, 7 to 8 on the powerhouseradio.com. You can also call in to listen at 667-930-9036. I don't know about you, but we hope you have a good rest of the week and be grateful and thankful that you get another one. This is Tonia with Let's Gripe.
And this is Mckenna with Let's Gripe. Everybody have a safe week. Stay warm. Put your socks on. The temperatures are going to drop again. And we really appreciate you tuning in. Good night, everybody, from Mckenna.
This is MG. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listen. Have a great one.
Tune it out.
Good night.
Have a good night. Let's Gripe.